Okay, let's get started with question 1. So, we're given a formula over here, and it's involving tan, a letter z, cosine, letter z, y, and x. So we've got some trigonometry going on here. We're given some values for the x, y, and z, and let's read the question all the way through. So the first part, calculate the exact value of t. Give your answer to t correct to 2 significant figures, 3 decimal places. Now, we cannot do this until we've done part A. And then lastly, we're going to work out a percentage error based on someone's estimate of the value of t. Now, over here on the right, I have the formula open, and so here we can see the formula for percentage error. So, let's get started. Now, even though this is a calculator question, it's worthwhile because you do get a mark for substituting into the formula. So anytime you're given a formula or you have a formula to use, substitute the values into it because you may get a mark. So let's start. So we open, let's start with our draw. Okay. We have tan of 2 times 30 plus 1 and 2 times cosine of 30 minus 1 all over 41 squared minus 9 squared. And these numbers are all just coming from the numbers that we were given up here. So these are the numbers that we're picking and using. Okay. So we've substituted into our formula. Now, as long as we've done that correctly, we should gain 1 mark. Now, the next thing to do is to plug this formula into the calculator. So we switch the calculator on. And we check the calculators in degrees. Because we're dealing with trigonometry, we must make sure our calculator's in degrees. Now, my calculator's in degrees because you can see that it's highlighted here. If yours isn't, just scroll down, scroll across, and press enter. And that would put it into degrees. Press second mode to take us out. So let's start. So we look at our formula. The first thing we have is a parentheses, so let's open the parentheses just above the A. Then press tan. Now it automatically opens our next parentheses, so we're going to do 2 times 30, close parentheses. And then it says plus 1, close parentheses. So that's just done the first set of big parentheses. Now we're going to do the second, so we open up some parentheses. We do 2 cosine. We put in the value of z, which is 30, close the parentheses, minus 1 and close the parentheses again. Now we could continue on, but I like to just work out what this value is. So let's press enter and see. Oh, it actually gave us a value of 2. So we could write that down on our calculator. So that's 2. If this had given us a decimal one, I would just probably continue on just now. And that's actually what I'm going to do. We could divide by. Now, on the bottom, we have 41 squared minus 9 squared. And the most common error is just to type that in. However, we want to divide by everything that's on the bottom. So we need to put in some parentheses. So open some parentheses, do 41 squared. We subtract 9 squared, close parentheses. And this should give us the answer, which is equal to 0.00125. Now, we could have done 41 squared minus 9 squared separately, and that gives me 1600. Now, if we do 2 divided by 1600, you see that we get exactly the same answer as what we had. So let's write our answer down into the answer box. 0.00125. Okay? Now that's 2 little ways of doing that. Now part B, so that's A done. Let's do part B. Give your answer correct to 2 significant figures. So that's A. Let's do B. 2 significant figures. So we have 0.00125. Now, to do significant figures, we start with the first non-zero number on the left. So the first non-zero number on the left is 1. And we're doing 2 significant figures. So we go 1, 2, then draw a line. Okay. That 5, we compare it to the 2. We see the 5 is bigger than 5. It's bigger than or equal to 5. So that's going to bring that 2 up to a 3. So this gives me 0.0013. Part 2 for this says to 3 decimal places. So we can follow a very similar pattern. Here. So we start with the first decimal place, the second decimal place, the third decimal place, and then we draw a line. And we draw a line between the 1 and the 2. And we can see that 2 is less than a 5. So it's not going to do anything to our 1. So that means our answer for this will be 0.001. Okay? Now just remember that your significant figure answer should be very similar in size to your original answer. Okay. Next thing and last thing is we've been given, so we've done part B now, and we've been given an estimate of the value of t, and we want to work out the percentage error. So if we look at our formula over here on the right, it tells us that the percentage error, so let's write our formula out, the error is equal to the approximate value subtract the exact value, all divided by the exact value. Now we put these big lines around it called modulus, and what that means is regardless of whether the answer is positive or negative, we're just going to use the positive value. Okay, and we're going to times that by 100. So again, we're using a formula, so that means we should substitute our values in. So the first value we want to substitute in is the estimate, our approximate value, which is 0.002. We subtract the actual value, the exact value, 0.00125. We're going to divide that by 0.00125 and times 100. So let's just go onto the calculator and do that. So we do 0.002 minus 0.00125. Press enter. Don't worry about this just yet. We'll work it out. Then we're going to divide by 0.00125, which was the exact value. Press enter. We times by 100. And this gives us an answer of 60%. And that's that question done.